everyone. I'm so glad you've joined me today for another thrift haul. First, I want to set the scene. My daughter and I had wanted to go to the bins, the Goodwill bins, or the Goodwill outlet as it's known, on a weekday. And we were supposed to do it in December, and illness canceled it. So now it's Martin Luther King Day, and she has the day off. But we had just been hit with a blizzard a couple days before and had about 20 inches of snow on the ground, and the wind chill was 35 degrees below zero. But we decided to go anyway, and like the crazy people that we are, we went ahead and got our iced coffees, but she has seat warmers and did a great job driving on what snow that was left after they'd plowed, and we had a good time. So today, I want to show you what I got, and I'm going to do this in two parts. So this is part one. I spent about $18 in total. Our Goodwill bins is $1.79 a pound. So I had about 10 pounds here if you round up a little bit. So let me show you what I got. First of all, just a random rubber stamp of a fleur-de-lis. I have a large rubber stamp collection. I got this little booklet called Mom, and I thought the illustrations were just really beautiful in this. They have a watercolor look. They're not super glossy. There is some gloss. The ring light's making it worse. But it seems like it would work for a number of different kinds of journals. Gardening, floral, fruit journals. Just really lovely illustrations. So I threw that in the cart. Then there was a pack of napkins that had been scattered all over, so I grabbed a couple of them. I thought this was a pretty print for fall. Coloration was a little bit different, and I'm sure you mushroom lovers will notice the mushrooms. So I think I just took two of those napkins. These can be used for decoupage if you're not familiar. If you're new to junk journaling and you wonder what you do with napkins, you separate the layers and they can be decoupaged onto a page, base of a tag, anything you'd like. I also got a little pack of sun art paper. You can put a flower or a leaf or a fern or something like that on the paper, and you expose it to sunlight and it makes a print, and I believe they generally turn out blue like you see there. I do have some other that I haven't tried yet that I also got at a trip to the bins, but I thought this size would be nice for just smaller singular things and might work well for junk journals without having to cut up a page or use it as a whole page, but maybe instead for journaling cards or pockets or things like that. This item has nothing to do with junk journals, but if you haven't been to the bins, you might wonder what shows up there. This is a box of pine cone ornaments. I thought they were pretty. They're all fine. Nothing's broken. They all have their tops. You can see the original price was $8.99. So this I thought would be nice to hang on a garland on our stairs next Christmas. So again, I grabbed those. And then I found these two sample swatches, designer samples for upholstery, curtains, things like that. This one is in Sesame, Maize, and Dijon, so kind of golden brown colorways. And it still has the string, it's all intact. And there are just a lot of nice fabric samples in here. Everything from florals to, that one's like a velour, satiny stripes, some more stripes and checks and plaids, a few florals. So these will be great for junk journaling. If you're new to junk journaling, you don't need a lot of fabric to do something. Obviously, if you have a bigger piece, you can create a cover with it. But these smaller pieces make nice flaps, bases for clusters, pockets, lots of uses. Now these are heavy with this whole thing on the top. So this did kind of bring the weight up. but I think there's some great fabrics there. And I also got this one, which you can see I've taken apart because I wanted to use one of the fabrics. This is rose cranberry and mulberry, so the red, wine, pinky type colors. And there's the plastic flap, and then you can see the actual size of the fabric that you get. And my understanding is if you iron this and get the heat up, you can just peel this off. That ironing it melts the adhesive, and that way it peels off easily. Most of these say dry clean only, so I don't know if it will work to soak the paper off, but I might give that a try too. Same situation, just different colorway, lots of different types of fabrics. I like getting these designer swatches whenever I can. I used to get much bigger ones when I lived in the Kansas City area. There was a woman who had a lot of very expensive designer fabrics, and they were large enough to cover a pillow or make a junk journal. But these small ones, like I said, have some good uses too, so I was happy to have these. And then I got this pan, and this is to tea dye paper. It's a nice good sized pan. Even a larger sheet of paper will fit in here. I had been using foil pans from the Dollar Tree, but they get awfully heavy when you get the water in there, and I didn't want to risk spilling. I do this out in my garage because I don't really have a good space inside our house to do it. So I go in the garage, so I have to transport things back and forth. So this is a good sturdy Wilton pan, nice and beat up, so perfect for repurposing for tea dyeing. All right, let me get set for part 2. This was my jackpot of the day. With this lace and the lace I showed you in the last haul, I should be set with lace for a while. My daughter was at a different bin than I was, and all of a sudden she started bringing these bags of laces and crochets over, and she kept digging and brought more bags and more bags, and I just kind of froze at the cart. I just couldn't believe what she was finding. Eventually I went over there and helped her, but for a while I just kept looking at what she was bringing, just amazed that there was that much lace in the one bin. So I did leave a few things behind that were heavier crocheted pieces that I didn't really think I would use, but let me show you what I got. Most of it was all baggied up like this, which is great. So that way it doesn't get ripped, wound around things. The bins are just a crazy mishmash of items. They're sharp things. There are people's dirty boots. So you don't know what's going to be in there. So I was grateful that most of these were bagged, which kept them in better shape. And there are prices on some of them just written on masking tape. So I don't know if it came out of an estate sale, a yard sale, an antique booth. I'm not sure what the case was, but I'm happy to have them, and I'll give you a real quick look at them. If you like laces, I think you'll enjoy this. Crochet piece with a little floral design. A couple pieces of that. Another crocheted piece. Piece like that, I imagine might have been on a pillowcase. It's just circular. There was this very large piece of lace. It was tucked in a bag with lots more of this, and I just pulled out this piece. This is more than enough. You can see this is one of the ones that had the price on it, and it's a nice long length of this lace with like a diamond pattern. These make really pretty tag toppers. That's what I like to use these thin laces for. Someone had this wrapped around a card. So there's this little piece. And then this. This piece looks like bells. I think it would be good for a Christmas journal. Some of these are quite yellowed and could use a good wash, unless I want that really grungy vintage look. That's a nice, pretty, intricate piece. More of the bells. This has hearts. And a lot of times I know this was like put on the edge of a shelf, like in the kitchen. Or again, maybe perhaps a hand towel, bath towel, all kinds of different uses. I know my grandmother used to crochet a lot for towels and things like that. Here's another edging. It's quite delicate. There's a big bag of lace someone had marked $5. This is a very creamy color. Quite pretty, and there's tons of that. Some more crochet, little edging. This is a fun piece. I'm not exactly sure what it was for, but it's some sort of tie or something with these flowers on there. Some of these patterns are so delicate. This one had been wrapped around an envelope. I like this a lot. That would look nice on a page edge or on a tag. Be pretty in a spring journal. There's two different ones in this one. There's three, I guess. There's that piece. Just a little bit of crochet. Would look good on the bottom of a tag or a pocket. And another circular piece that I'm guessing might have been pulled from a pillowcase. There was this interesting little edging. It has just the softest little pleats. There's quite a bit of that. Here's some eyelet. And this has these little holes, and this is so you can weave a ribbon in and out. I believe it's called insertion lace. So this might have been for the top of a nightgown. I see a lot of camisoles that were made with that kind of top. And then they had ribbon for straps too. So there's quite a good sized piece of that. Oh, some more of the diamond. And then this is a very petite little lace, very tiny little floral or cross design. And then there were these spool cards, and these ran up my weight some because they're heavy, but they were so interesting I wanted to go ahead and get them. This first one has a tag. It says ALW brand, made in England. And it's a trim. I thought this was brown when I saw it inside the building, but it's looking a little bit purple here in my light. But it's just some nice floral trim wrapped around this vintage card. There are a couple of these odd cards that have these metal pieces on them. And there's a fun little tag like junk journalers love to use. And it has this lace on it. It's quite a bit of it. But I just thought these were so interesting, these metal pieces that have been applied to the corners. And the way this is shaped, it looks like it was meant for two different laces to be wound on here and kept separate. Here's the other one with those metal tags on it, little clip corners. But you can see this is just one. And there's a pretty little rose trim here. Then there was this big thing. And there's some trims I really like on this. This one kind of is an ombre effect. There's kind of a rust on the outside, and then it's sort of purpley looking, but yet there's some green. I'm assuming these were used for upholstery. There's this cranberry red one. This blue one has an interesting shape. And then this is probably my favorite. It's kind of a soft pink with green. I think this will be a good trim for my flip-flop journal that has kind of a Jane Austen floral kind of colorway and look to it. And then last but not least, I don't know what this was that they've wrapped this trim around, but it's so interesting, the graphics on there. Some kind of box or something, I guess. And the trim itself is quite nice too. It's sort of like a rickrack, but it has a little bit of a stitched edge to it, if you can see. So those are my finds. I hope you enjoyed seeing them. Thanks for coming along for the ride today. I've used the hashtags Thrifty Thursday, which is hosted by Sheree at Turquoise Streaming, and Thrifted Treasures, which is hosted by Dale at Not Too Shabby Chic. And as always, I will leave their information in my description box below. And don't forget to use those hashtags so you can see what everybody's been up to this week. Happy thrifting.